Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because on there there will be a link to our website and to some blogs and various other types of situations. I missed it. I've never done the social media ending, so I don't know how to end it. Okay, so
like us on Facebook,
yeah,
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. If you've made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. So anyways, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers. What's up, everybody? I'm Jonathan Gauthier, and thanks for tuning in. We just got through recording a really cool video series, and I was inspired to record this one because oftentimes I have people ask me, so how do you get your horses to move so nice, or to move so smooth or fluidly? And I guess it's not necessarily something that I do in particular about that, but it's just all of the work that goes around making my horse use their body the way that they should, and that just has a byproduct of teaching them to really extend their stride and extend their range of motion. And I like my horses to travel with as long of an extended stride as possible, and the reason is because that means that they have the energy that's located and concentrated in the right parts of their body for them to execute any maneuver, whether it's going to be a transition, a downward transition, or a lead departure, a lead change, speeding up, slowing down, stopping, anything that you will do, as long as you have your horse's body energy gathered in the right parts of their body and really channeling that energy through their diagonal. This is when you're going to have the end result of a horse that's really holding themselves up, that are going to be really ready to do whatever you ask them to do, and that are going to in turn move probably at their prettiest possible. And this is always definitely a very important goal of mine, because I'm in the performance horse industry. We're competing with a horse that has a very nice lope, a nice range of motion, a good extended stride is going to be rewarded for in the show pen. But also I'm in a selling business, and people like to feel and like to look at horses that move well and that travel good. So it's interesting how many horses have that naturally very good strided. Some horses are too long strided, too big strided. Those are going to be a little bit more challenging to kind of get more compact and to not feel like they're just escaping from you. But generally speaking, horses are a little bit more on the tight side, scared side, a little bit anxiety, stress, and all of these mixed emotions that they face through their training period will usually make them a little bit more compact and shorter strided and tighter in their body. So the goal, the ultimate goal, to have a horse that can extend its stride to its full extent is going to be by relaxing their body to the maximum. So we're not talking about lazy. We're not talking about horses that just like that, because those horses that fall apart, they may have a longer stride, but it's not an elevated shoulder. So it's maybe a long stride, but it's not going to be as long or as pretty or as functional as if the shoulder were really elevated and the horse was working really hard to hold and sustain that lope, but at the same time is in as much of a relaxed state of mind as they can be. And this is the combination that I'm after. I want my horses to perform to the best of their ability with as much power coming from the hind through that shoulder as possible, while remaining as quiet and as relaxed as possible. This is why that putting them through various situations, exercises and drills, that's going to teach them how to negotiate turns and straight lines and speed up and slow down and transition, and do all of those things while keeping that composure is going to be key. And so here are 5 exercises that I do with my horses that really helps my horse develop themselves in that way. So the first exercise that I do is going to be called the pizza exercise. I like to call it that because I'm going to be cutting through my circle the same fashion as I would be cutting through a pizza. So the goal is going to be to negotiate 2 turns and then a straight line across the diameter of the circle until the other end, and repeat and repeat and repeat until the horse approaches the end of that diameter by holding themselves up. Negotiate both turns without dropping the shoulder, resisting, slowing down, losing forward motion, without any of those things, just by keeping that body position in the body energy in the right parts of the body to do that turn soft, relaxed, and composed, and come out of those 2 turns by naturally lifting their shoulders up and driving under themselves naturally, and with a lot of power, but balance. And this is what I call the comfort zone. This is where my horses feel the best. And this is something that I do on the loose rein with a hackamore with my 2-year-olds the first time that I go in the arena. At first they may be falling apart, falling out of lead, break into a trot, but I'm going to keep repeating until they learn to hold themselves up and do it by themselves. And I'm going to keep doing this through my entire training program until they're very broke, and until I can do this exercise one-handed with my fingertips and my horses are really connected and listening to my body. And so the same attributes are going to be going on for the other exercises, but the other exercises are just going to put the horses through different situations, such as going straight line all the way around the arena. This is one of my favorite, to really teach the horse to really extend their stride and be straight in their body, because when you're using that wall on the outside, if let's say you have a horse that like to lope round that way, stick that rib cage that way. So if I were to pull on that outside rein going straight somewhere else in the arena or on the open track, well, my horses may want to go that way, but there's a wall, so he won't be able to go that way. So he may be forced to give me that shoulder here, give me that chin, and bring that outside shoulder and rib cage straighter, and the wall is helping me teach my horse how to do that. And so this is why that when I feel that I have a hard time getting my horses to be straight in my circle, my first action is going to be to leave that circle coming around that first quarter and go straight around the arena and follow that wall until that, as soon as I turn and I go straight and I pull on that outside rein a little bit and lift my horse's shoulder, it gets as straight and extend its stride as much as possible. And I'm going to reward that by either transitioning down to a walk and letting them catch their breath, stopping, or going back into the circle and finishing off on the loose rein in a circle, saying, yes, this is how you need to hold yourself up. And if I go back in my circle and I feel like they're not doing the effort, then I'm going to leave that circle and go around the arena some more. The third exercise that I'm going to do is going to be to do sort of a flexion, but moving forward, whether it's at the walk, trot, or lope. I want to be able to go forward and with only taking the inside rein, lift that shoulder, and without any support to the outside rein or without doing anything different really with my legs, I want to be able to ride my horse forward, take their inside shoulder, get a really soft reaction to their chin. And I don't need a full flexion, it doesn't need to be a full bend, but just a nice flexion where that chin meets their shoulder bump. And if a horse can give you that type of flexion, that type of give, and you can get control over their inside shoulder without having to support it too much with the outside rein, and they can do this and give it to you right away, you release it, they relax their neck, and they let you take it again and again. If you can take it again and again, that means that you know that you have a horse that has its energy in the right parts of its body, because it's something that's very difficult to do for horses that are really dropping their shoulder, that are really stiff, that are tight. So this is why flexions off the start are very important, because you got to develop them into training tools. And so any flexion exercises that you can do moving forward are going to be paying off greatly and really help you promote that extended range of motion that we're after. Fourth exercise is going to be very similar to the pizza and to going around following the wall, but it's just going to be done in a serpentine. I call it the snake or the serpentine exercise, because you're going to be going from long wall to long wall in the arena. So following that short side parallel to the short sides of the arena, going from one end to the other. So the challenge here is that you're going on the short side of the arena, you're going towards a wall. So at the end of that wall, you're going to be either turning or going counter-canter. And this is where that exercise is a little bit more advanced, a little bit more difficult than the pizza, because your horse is not going to know which way you're going to go, and you're going to decide that possibly at the last minute. But this is something that when you can approach the wall going on the short side like that, approach the wall and lift your hands and help your horse through 2 turns and go straight again, and just do that up and down the arena like that, and either going into turning towards their diagonal, the lead that they're on, or going into a counter-canter. Once you can execute that effortlessly, this is when you're way ahead of the game, and this is when you know that you have a horse that is really channeling its energy properly and driving through their diagonal. So I like to say this is often something like, if I go to a clinic And I got people with really good horses, and they can do some nice stuff, and they're looking for ways to improve themselves. But every time that I ask them, okay, let's say they're loping around in a circle or doing a rectangle, and I tell them off the bat, wherever they're at, I say, okay, now go into a counter canter. And so all of a sudden you see them use their leg and lift their hands and try and go into that counter canter, and the horse was not ready for it, and it's not something that they've practiced. And so that means that the horse was not using itself really in that position that they thought may have been as good as it was. But when they try to go into a counter canter, the horse falls apart. And so I tell them, I said, always have your horses going around ready to go into a counter canter. This is what is going to be a good indicator that your horses are using themselves in the best possible way, and that have their range of motion as extended as possible. So that brings me to the last and final exercise, which is in and all of itself pretty simple, but at the same time something that I feel is hard to put into certain horses, especially the horse that I use today to demonstrate these exercises is a horse that is naturally pretty tense and tight, and plus he's deaf, so he won't respond to a humming or to you know, to any verbal cue for him to do a transition. But it's to be able to do a transition, a downward transition, you know, and without losing any forward motion whatsoever, without any resistance or loss or stiffness whatsoever. So you can do these transitions and start by doing these transitions loose, okay? So let's say you're doing the pizza exercise and you're steering and going straight and steering and going straight, and then that horse just goes straight perfectly in that comfort zone, is just really well balanced and responsive and ready to go and doing well. Then this is a good opportunity to stop them or transition down to a walk. And you want to be able to do that from that lope or from that fast trot and just relax yourself, and they go into a different gait without any resistance, stiffness, or loss in forward motion. So doing this loose is something that I'm going to do early on to teach my horses to really listen to my cue, and to make sure that I'm going to use it as a reward for them, to let them know when it is that I feel that their balance and their effort into channeling their energy and driving themselves forward is as good as it can be. And it's also really, I feel like it's also me doing my job to the best of my ability, because I'm asking my horses to do these maneuvers or to do these things when I have them perfectly set up for success. And I think that this is the recipe for success. So doing those downward transitions as often as possible is going to help you really work on that extended range of motion from your horses. You also want to do that with a contact in their mouth. So let's say you're collecting your horse, you're doing this exercise, either the serpentine exercise or going around the wall, and you're turning and you're lifting your horse and really increasing its diagonal, increasing its range of motion, and you get a full give to your hands and a full give to your leg, and that horse is in a perfect position. So with that, you can do something. Well, it's a lot easier said than done, and I promise a lot of people have some trouble with that, and some horses have some trouble with that. But if, let's say, you have your horse in a good collection, then hold that collection, keep your legs in the exact same position as you have them, but just relax your seat into a different, and transition down to a different gait, whether it's transitioning to a walk, transition to a trot. Just try and transition down and see what happens. If your horse stalls or stiffens up or pushes in your hand or whatever, then there was a disconnection. That means that you did not have full control over its energy, or you may have lost it. So doing downward transition and being able, let's say, being able to run in as fast as you can towards the other end of the arena, and at the other end of the arena just taking a hold of their face and relaxing yourself in your saddle, and have that horse go from full speed to a walk, let's say, or to a slow lope, and just without any resistance in your hand. And that means that you know that you have a horse that was using its body in the best way possible. And so repeating that is also going to make sure that when you do add some speed or some pressure, then you're getting rid of that brace, which tends to make your horses a lot tighter in their stride and a lot shorter strided. So again, transitioning from fast to slow, or from one gait to another in contact without losing forward motion or meeting any resistance, is going to be a very good indicator that you have your horses loping in the best possible position with the most extended range of motion. So I hope that this video served you well. This was a very long and thoroughly explained video series that is going to be available on the Comfort Zone horse training video series platform. So So if you haven't checked that out yet, you can try it out for free for 7 days. If you are a subscriber, then I encourage you to watch this series and give me some feedback into how I can help elaborate on this subject and make it even better down the road. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. And for you who follow us on YouTube, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. As you know, every subscription, every thumbs up, and every comment on the videos help me grow my audience. And at the moment, we're on a good uphill uprise, and it's really motivating. So that motivates me to keep coming, and that is all thanks to you. So I appreciate you watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you very much. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because on there there'll be a link to our website and to some blogs and various other types of situations. I messed it. I've never done the social media ending, so I don't know how to end it. Okay, so
Like us on Facebook,
yeah.
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. Anyways, so if you've made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. So anyways, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.